Hello and welcome to this tutorial for using PayPal's API for creating a subscription. That's basically regular payments. I just want to let you guys know that PayPal's API it's bullshit. So I think it's one of the worst APIs I've ever used. But that's why I made this video, so people feel less confused about it and learn how to use it. So we are going to be using cURL. I don't know how to pronounce it for basically interacting with the API. Basically, we are just going to create all the objects we need right here, and then we're going to use get a result over here. And you probably want to use this on PHP, so you can always use this tool right here. I actually use it quite a lot. Use paste the command right here. So let's see, for example, get token PayPal. So do we have the cURL command? We use copy this into or cURL to PHP, and then we have all the commands here. So I'm going to start explaining this. So basically, in order to interact with the API, we need a access token first. So in order to get an access token, we just wanna set our client ID here and our secret here. So in order to get those, you just go to developer.paypal.com. You go into dashboard, then you create an app, and then let's say test app. Here we have a test account that will be business, and then we have all the things here already. So we want to copy the client ID, copy it right here, and then we want to use the secret and paste it right here, and then we will get the access token, which is this value right here. So we can copy this somewhere over here, and we can use this for 32,000 seconds. So yeah, just keep in mind that this doesn't last forever, so I highly recommend you do a function for this. So basically you will go into PHP, copy this into the cURL to PHP translator or conversion, and then just create a function out of this. So something like this will be okay. I guess I will share the code in the description. I don't know why I'm coding this into Notepad. I think I'm just really stupid. But basically this is what it will look like. So you can get everything every time. So and then use return token like this. So basically this function right here will get you the token every time. I'm sure it's I'm not sure why this is doing this twice, but basically this will give you the token every time. So when you execute get token, you will get the access token every time. And if for some reason your token is about to end, it will just generate another one, so you won't have any problems with this one. So after you do this, you will basically just be able to call the API and replace the access token value with this function every time. So you get a fresh token. Okay, so after doing this, just getting the token, you wanna go to documentation. So I think I just click on logged out accidentally. Yeah, I think so. Okay, sorry. I think it was this account right here. Okay. Cool. So we have test app right here. So in order to create a subscription, we first need to create the objects that our customer is going to pay for. So we're going to Google right here, PayPal subscription API, and always look for the updated documentation. Well, I'm doing this in 2020. But PayPal really doesn't update shit from their documentation. For me, I don't know, it seems like a dead company for some reason. They don't do shit. They have the same box for the last 5 years, but it is what it is. So you want to create a product. So you come here, you paste it, and then you replace access token with your access token. So we have this copied right here. And then we can remove this line. Make sure to remove PayPal request ID every time, because it's not necessary and might lead into confusion when creating some things. And then we have to set up the name of the service here. So let's call platform, and so your platform name and premium, for example. And then your description. And then here you have the service and the category. I think most of the people that are going to code this will want this, but I'm sure you will get types and category in your documentation somewhere. Then you can set up an image for that service and a home URL. The image is not necessary. I would suggest keeping the home URL though. Then we can send it. And we have the product ID. So we need to keep this product ID. And this is the last time we need to interact with this part of the API. But if you want to sell multiple plans or plans with multiple products inside, you might want to create more things here. Like so. So we have our product right here. Okay, after we created all the products we need, you can always come back and edit those though. But make sure you get this okay the first time, because it's easier right like that. Okay, after that we wanna just keep following the documentation. So we wanna create a plan. So basically you can create fixed pricing plans or user seat pricing plan. Basically this the user seat pricing plan means that you can modify the quantity of the products, but you cannot create dynamic pricing plans on PayPal. So if you want to increase the subscription price on the go, you won't be able to do that. You should be using Stripe for that. Because PayPal just doesn't support it. But in case you wanna, for example, create something depending on the quantity, the first time you use it, you need to go with user seat pricing. But if you use a fixed pricing every month, you need the fixed pricing plan endpoint. So you wanna copy this, and we don't need PHP for everything we're doing right now. The only thing we need is take a token for later, and then we can name the plan right here. So let's call it basic plan, or let's call it premium. Here we're going to set a product ID. So let's copy the first product I created before. And then we have to we can remove request ID from here. As I said before, we copy the access token into access token, and then we can set up the pricing, the billing cycles. So the most important of here right here is that we have sequence numbers. So sequence 1 and 2. So this means this sequence will execute first, and then this one will execute later. In this case, this is going to be a sequence which will have a 1 month frequency, and it will only last 1 cycle. So it means it will be execute once, and it has a tuner type of trial. So this means that a user won't be built during this process. So let's say, for example, we want to make it a free week, for example, instead of a month, and we want to keep it a week. So we are going to set up total cycles to 1. So we're going to keep tag like this, and then we go into the actual billing cycle. So here we have the frequency. So if you want to bill your customer once a month, you're going to set say unit to month and then 1. This is a regular ternary type, as this is not a trial. And then this will last a year, but we can maybe make it last like maybe 5 years, like this, or 10 years. Sorry, yeah, 10 years. So yeah, we're going to make it last 10 years. This is number 20 sequence because the trial will execute first. And then the pricing scheme, it's how much are we going to charge our customer for this service. We also need to make sure to set up the currency. So for default on the documentation is USD. Let's use euros, for example. Make sure to set up the same currency on every item on your plan, or it won't work. So everything must be set to euros or USD or whatever currency is supported if you want to do another one. And then the payment preference. This is what I recommend. This basically means it will be built automatically once the billing cycle is finished. We can set up a setup fee. So even if we set up a trial billing cycle, we can always set up a first starter setup fee. In my case, I'm going to remove it. Then this is the action we want to do if the payment fails. In this case, we want to keep trying until we bill the user. And this is going to try it for 3 times. And after the 3 times, and after we try to bill the customer 3 times, if it is not successful, this will execute a webhook of plan cancelled. We can always set up taxes here too, but I don't want to, so bye. And that's it. So now we can execute the command, and we will get the plan. So this is very important. This is a plan ID. We need to keep this. But what I want to make sure is that this is on status active. Sometimes when you create this out of the sandbox environment, you don't get it active by default, so you need to activate it. So make sure you log out for this. After this, we use check out whatever it is created, and it seems to be okay. So yeah, remember to copy the plan ID. And okay, let's keep following the documentation. So now we have 2 options. We can always use the JavaScript PayPal script if we want to generate the button for redirecting the user into the approval site, or we can use PHP. So I'm going to use PHP as it is more secure for handling, in my opinion. It's just easier to handle with a database. So we go to basically what this will do is create an agreement request. So we just go right here, and we wanna copy this. So the access token. We can remove this. We wanna copy the plan we generated before. The start time, I will also provide code with the start time right here. And do this, I will share it in the description, I guess. And then basically needs to be at least it must be higher than the current date. So I'm going to set this to this, which is higher than my current date. We can remove any details because this might cause problems. I think this is meant to autofill details on the approval side, but I would suggest keeping this clean and just storing the agreement ID for checking details later. Now we can set up the brand of our for company or whatever we're billing. So let's use example company. We can always set up the language. Let's keep it on English. Yeah, sorry about this. There is no way you can skip shipping and fulfillment. For some reason, PayPal it's really dumb and thinks shipping preference it's a more important value than fulfillment address. But this has been an ongoing problem for the past like 6 to 7 years, so nothing you can do about it. This will be the action which will be executed, which is a subscription basically. This is the payment method. We are using PayPal. This is part of Braintrace API. I think you can set up multiple, but just keep it PayPal. And then we can set up the return URL and the cancel URL. This isn't really not important. I would suggest relating it into a site that closes it up once it's accessed with JavaScript, and then just handle the response with the webhook, because these ones might not always be reached, even if the subscription is successful. But you need to set up both of them, and then we can create it. And then we can see it created an agreement request, which it's pending, and we can approve it by going into the approve URL. So this will be probably used a lot in our PHP code, so I'm going to make a PHP function for this. We're going to use the previous function for the token. And then we are going to use plan ID. Start time will be the time. And that's mostly it. So we can go here. Okay. Seems to be okay. So we can set the time right here. Let's see. Time. Okay. On plan ID. Okay. So okay, let me check what I had on my code. Okay, this should be the access like the accepted format. And I think we are good to go. Let me see if I missed anything. Oh, I closed it up. Well, I think it's everything yeah, I don't think there is any other things I need to fill. So okay, so what this will do, basically, what you should do is push the ID generated from this request to your database. So you have basically like a table with name, for example, PayPal agreement requests, where you have your customer ID or email or whatever, and the agreement ID, I think it's 14, and then it's recommended that you have the date time. So basically like this, and then basically the webhook will like send this ID once it's accepted, and then you can look up to which the customer that generated that request, and then apply the subscription to that customer. So we can just go to the approve. We can just go to the approve URL we generated. So we copy this into our browser, or we replace it using PHP. Then we can see our all the information. We log in with our testing account. Then we wait, because PayPal is slow as fuck. And then we accept it. And that's it. This should return us to our domain. And then we will receive a webhook, which basically what we'll do is return this same ID, but it will change the status from approval pending to approved instead. So should be good to go. And that's basically it. So you should go to the webhooks, which I don't remember where they are. PayPal webhooks. Guess it should be somewhere in the dashboard. Yeah, we can just go to webhooks. And then yeah, this is why I hate PayPal. Let me look into this little more. Okay, I found it. So basically you wanna go to my apps and credentials. You wanna scroll down, then click on add webhook. And then you're gonna basically select all of this. Not this one, I think. So basically, you wanna set up. Yeah, this should be okay. So you wanna set up everything related to your subscriptions. So when it gets activated, when it gets cancelled, when it gets created, expired, payment failed, reactivated, renewed, suspended, and updated. So you're gonna go save it. I think I missed something. Oh yeah, you need to, of course, set up. Whatever you wanna do. So you save it. And there you go. So you have the webhook ID. So what you wanna do, it's the following. Okay, so you can go to webhook simulator, and then basically you can see what type of data each webhook event sends. So in this case, I used the billing subscription created, and we can see that the body it's all this, and what we really want is basically this and this. So what I suggest you do, this is all inside resource. So you basically get the body of the response, so you can get it with this function right here, and then you can use the plan ID. Oh, never mind. Actually, plan doesn't do anything. You need to ID only. So it's ID. So it's agreement ID, and you go into body, resource, and ID. So this will return the agreement, and then we can if this is status body resource status. So if the status it's activated, we'll get a status active here. So if status active, you go into your customer. So whatever thing you are using here, hopefully you are using object-oriented code. So we are going to use so what you want to do here, it's select customer ID from where place ID, I think it was called like that. No, agreement ID, it's okay. Agreement ID, it's ID. So then bind ID to ID and return data customer ID. So that way you get the customer, and then you can always customer set subscribed and this will subscribe this used code into your backend. Of course, I'm not going to code your logic for this because each one of you will have its own logic. But basically, what you should do is update the subscription from basically upgrade the subscription and then update it with a timestamp when it got subscribed. You can also update it each time it gets renewed. So this should be renewed, which should return a status of active again. So active, and then always make sure to double check this. You can do that by getting the agreement with this. So So basically this will return the agreement information from the actual PayPal endpoint instead of the body, which can always, like, people can always fake the input of the body by sending requests for injecting their own data. So basically what you want to do is you get the agreement with get agreement ID. Okay, and then you check this instead of the status passed. So basically like this, and then you just check it. And if for some reason it is failed or anything, you can always send a notification. So basically this should return links. We want to reactivate it, which is the second link. So I think it was, oops, this should be 1. I forgot we count from 0. And this should be 0. And I think I did the same mistake. No, it's okay. Okay, so this should be the entire code. So in order to start a subscription, you just do this. From any class you want, you just import this file. So you want to do PayPal API, new PayPal, then agreement URL, PayPal API, agreement URL. I think it was like this. Approval URL, okay. Then I think it's something like this. I always forget from this function to redirect. Oh, actually got it right. Okay. I'm not sure you can if you can use functions, so I guess I will use like this. That's what I would suggest. And that's it. So basically what you need to code, it's set subscribed. You can always use the subscribe. I know this is up to you, so this is your logic. And that would be pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial and that you found it easier than the PayPal's documentation. I think it's funnier doing it live like this, because PayPal documentation, it's basically bullshit. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I guess share the video if you liked it. Bye. Oh, one last thing. One last thing. You can remember to always replace sandbox right here with a live URL once you decide to go live. So you just replace everything that contains sandbox with api.paypal.com, and you should be good to go. And that way you will be live already. I don't know if I think you need to update the secret and the ID. So that should be everything basically.